Weapons is now on HBO Max, so now that it's widely available, let's talk about it. Just like last time, I'm gonna do no spoilers and then spoilers in the back half. So if you have not seen this movie yet, you have a chance to go see it. You can watch the first half of this video, see if you want to, and then come back to the second half of this video afterwards to see what I have to say. Low effort movie reviews. In my Black Phone 2 review, I promised I would talk about my theater experience and why this was a weird experience for me. So the first time I saw Weapons was in theaters on opening weekend. I wanted to see it before anybody could spoil it for me. I follow a lot of movie people. I went in, packed theater, happened to be sitting next to two people who just had zero theater etiquette. They were young girls, super annoying. They were on their phone the whole time, literally playing TikToks with sound. Can't make that one up. Talking during suspenseful parts, just being shithead little kids. So now that it's on streaming, I went back and I watched it, and now I understand how I feel about this movie, and it's pretty good. One of the things I said in my Scream 7 trailer review is that Zach Cregger does a really good job with his trailers of not showing too much. I love what he does with his trailers. For Barbarian, he told you the first 15 or so minutes of the movie, and then it completely switches and becomes something else. I love that he did that. He did that here with Weapons as well. The premise of the movie is there's a classroom with a new teacher in it. One kid and the teacher go to class one day and everyone else is gone. All those kids happen to run out of their house goofy at 2:17 in the morning. And that's all you really get in the trailer. And that's probably the first couple minutes of the movie. And then after that, you're off to the races trying to figure out what happened to these kids, which I really love. You don't give too much away. You go into the movie, not blind, but not having an expectation of what you're gonna see. The way this movie plays is you're seeing different perspectives of the same couple days from different people. You spend some time with the teacher, you spend some time with the father, you spend some time with someone that's just in the city, a police officer, a child. You spend some time with different people. Each perspective gives you a little bit more of the story, gives you a little bit more background about what was happening. I really like that they did that. I feel like he did it in a way that didn't feel like you're just rewatching the same thing over and over again. It didn't feel like you were just replaying the movie 14 different times. However, I do think some people's perspectives are a little bit long or could have been cut a little shorter and not 100% necessary to the story. The movie has a long runtime as it is, so there is some moments where you could have cut that out and it wouldn't have made any difference to the movie whatsoever. All in all, I do think it is a very good movie. I unfortunately have this thing where whenever a comedy person gets into horror films, I kind of compare it to the other comedy people in horror films, right? So we have John Krasinski, Jordan Peele, Zach Cregger. And Jordan Peele obviously made a fucking masterpiece with Get Out. I really like A Quiet Place with John Krasinski. I think Zach Cregger's doing a really good job. If I was going to compare Weapons, I would compare it to Us by Jordan Peele. I think it's a very interesting movie, but I think if you think too hard on it, then there's some plot holes and you could call some shit out. If you're not going into it with a critical mind, this is a great movie. It's entertaining, it's fun, it has some comedy, it has some horror, it's confusing. There's random shit going on that you're just like, whoa, what the fuck? There's a lot of shock value in this movie. So some of my positives are it has a good amount of comedy in the movie. It's interesting. It's a different premise I've never seen before. It found an effective way to do the retelling of a couple days over and over again. But my negatives are there's clear plot holes in the movie. There's some fluff in the movie. There's some things that just like don't need to be there, but are. One of the things that I found interesting was I watched an interview with Zach Cregger where he said this movie is a metaphor for alcoholism. I did not know that in the first time watching it, but in the second time, I can really tell that that was part of it. And on that note, we're going spoilers. So it's time. You know what to do if you don't want spoilers. What up, everybody that wants spoilers? All in all, I did enjoy this movie. Aunt Gladys is scary enough. I have no proof to this, but I think Gladys was inspired by Longlegs. It just kind of has that feeling to me. She's a witchy lady who is dying and wants to feed off children, from my understanding of what it is. Talking about the alcoholism thing in the spoiler-free portion, you could really see it after you know that's what it is. Opening title sequence has the AA in the Weapons. The teacher is dealing with having alcohol problems. Police officer is dealing with having alcohol problems. After they and the fiance of the police officer corners the teacher, she pours alcohol all over her. The homeless man has a drug issue. This movie just feels very about addiction, which I like. I'm here for the metaphor. That gave me a little bit more depth to the movie that made me enjoy it a little bit more. From the interview that I saw, Zach Cregger actually said the perspective of the little boy is actually autobiographical telling of his childhood. Aunt Gladys is the metaphor for the alcohol. This foreign thing comes into the home, consumes the family, and now the kid has to take care of the family, feeding, getting back and forth to school on their own, and just having to be adult and being stripped of their childhood completely, which is devastating. And honestly, to me, it takes the longest to get to the kid's perspective, but he is the main character of this entire movie. You go through a lot of perspectives. I don't know if I have this in order correctly, but you go through the teacher, police officer, a homeless man, father, the principal, the kid. So 6 different perspectives if I'm remembering correctly, which is a lot of perspectives. Some of them are a little bit long and unnecessary. There's things in each perspective that I really like and things that I don't. For instance, the dad's perspective, I really like the dad played by Thanos himself. He does an amazing job throughout this movie. I don't like the gun thing necessarily above the house. I thought that that was supposed to be some type of metaphor for school shootings. Zach Cregger came out and said he just had that in a dream, so he put it in the movie. For it being that, it spends too much time on screen. He kind of stares at it for a while, so it felt significant and it just wasn't, which bothered me a little bit. Another thing about his character arc is he has this long monologue that's absolutely beautiful where he's talking to his kid, telling him that he wishes he could have told him he loves him, but he is a really good dad and seems like the type of dad that would tell his kid that he loves him and he's proud. So that part's just kind of confusing to me. He plays super dad. He puts everything together to eventually get to the point where they find out what house is holding these kids. Another thing that kind of threw me off a little bit about the movie is that there's like jump scares, things where you're seeing the aunt randomly in day-to-day life, and she is witchy, but there is no reason why she would be in the dream of the teacher who's never seen her before, or standing in the field with the homeless man, because there's no reason for him to know what she looks like. That part is a little bit confusing to me. To me, it feels like just an opportunity to use her creepy look as jump scares, as things to do in this movie to make it be a horror film again, because a lot of this movie doesn't necessarily feel like a horror film. When you're in the perspective of the homeless person, it actually feels like a comedy movie. He's hilarious. He does an amazing job running around, stealing things out of cars, having funny little conversations. He randomly breaks into this home to try to steal shit to get more drugs. He finds the kids in the basement and finds out there's a reward for it and has funny moments trying to get the money for the reward. I don't know the principal's name in real life. He plays Wong in the MCU. I really like him. He plays a gay principal in this movie. Early in the movie, they show him all crazed out, running around, beat up. They show it pretty early in the movie and you're like, what the fuck just happened? And then they don't get to it again for a really long time. He's one of the last perspectives you get to, which I understand why, because it shows you the breaking the branch, how she does her little witchy spells, but I would have liked to see it sooner. I would have liked to have known how we got there. Another little quick nitpick. Me and one of my good friends were talking about this the other night and he pointed this out. At the scene where they're in the house and Thanos is whooping everybody's ass and he goes down to the basement looking at all the kids and then the aunt is like there and like jump scares him. This is a pretty big plot hole because he could have beat the shit out of her. He beat the shit out of everybody else upstairs. But in that moment, apparently she bests him, gets his hair, does a little thing, breaks the thing, and now he's one of her little possessed brujeria things as well. It just doesn't make much sense. Another big plot hole of this movie to me is that the kid has to take care of all the kids once they're all kidnapped. And every single day he has to go to the store and buy a bunch of cans of soup to then feed all these kids soup. Everyone in the town knows that the kids are missing. The one kid from the classroom that survived is going and buying all these soups every day and then just leaving, and no one is suspicious of that. It just doesn't make sense to me. I also think that we didn't necessarily need to make just some parts as long. The police officer having sex with the Silver Surfer wasn't like necessary to show me. It was implied. Cool, got it. It wasn't necessary. It felt like fluff. So another thing that bothers me is that at the end of this movie, the kid then never gets his parents back. That sucks. He goes through all of this, ends up with a different aunt who is not into brujeria. Somebody else is feeding his parents soup after that. That's sad. That is not a happy ending for that child. He deserves a happy ending. Stepping back a moment, there is some things that I really enjoy about the movie. Those are all of my nitpicks of the movie that I can think of off the top of my head. They're just little plot holes that made me not feel like this is a masterpiece, but just a good movie. The parts that are scary and the parts that are crazy do feel scary and crazy. She shows the kid for the first time that she's controlling the parents and she breaks the branch and they start stabbing themselves in the face. Kids like trying to stop them. Not only was that terrifying to watch, it was heartbreaking. It's super effective. It's super well done. The running, although goofy, when Wong is doing it, when he's all crazed out, it is scary and funny all at the same time. Hard thing to capture. Another thing that was like a slight funny thing that maybe, I don't know if it was intentional or not, but Wong is gay in this movie. And for some reason, when they go to have dinner, when the aunt shows up at the house, he has like 10 glizzies on a tray. I'm assuming that's because they're gay. Not that there's anything wrong with eating glizzies. I'd have fucked those glizzies up. But I'm assuming that's why. There's a lot of really funny moments in this movie. In the last scene, she's running, going through different houses and different yards, very Scooby-Doo-esque. That part is hilarious. When the kids start ripping her apart, gruesome, great horror. That is something that this movie does very well. Like I said, with the forks, they also do it when Wong is just headbutting the shit out of his partner. They do it at this moment where the kids are ripping the aunt apart. They do that part really well. But all in all, I do think that this movie is more of a very interesting movie that has spooky stuff going on that they just kind of inject interjected a couple horror parts in it. A lot of this movie does not play like a horror film. It just plays more like a mystery thriller, which is fine. It's a really good movie. I just wouldn't say it's a great or the greatest horror film of the year. But all in all, Weapons is a good movie. I would recommend watching it if you haven't yet. If I were to rate this movie, I would probably give this movie like a B+. I think it's a really good movie. It's not something that I think every year around Halloween time I'm like, yeah, we got to throw that one on. I would love to watch that again. But I do think it's a good movie. I do think that you'll enjoy it. There's funny moments, there's scary moments, there's a decent story. It's interesting in its mystique. The main protagonist of the story is creepy and scary. I like Zach Cregger films. They're different. You don't know what they're gonna do, and the next time he goes to make a movie, I'm definitely gonna watch it. I do believe he got like Silent Hill or Resident Evil or something along that line. I'll be interested to see what he does with it. However, I am a lot more interested in his next own personal creative endeavor, not the remaking of something else. Pretty good movie. What do you think? Do you think I'm off base? Do you enjoy things? Did I miss something that you liked about the movie or did not like about the movie? Let me know in the comments, and I'll see you next time.